Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Over the past month or so, I've managed to pick up quite a lot of manga, both secondhand and new. So what I was thinking of doing was dividing the hauls into maybe just a couple of different videos just to make sure the videos don't run on for too long. So anyway, let's get started. The first series I picked up was this, Zetman. So it's by a mangaka named Masakazu Katsura. And actually, if anyone's read his other work, he's the same mangaka who did this series here called Eyes, and these two manga could not be any more different. I believe this one on the right, Eyes, was published in Shonen Jump, whereas this one was in Young Jump. So this one here is just like a kind of a basic shonen love story, whereas this one here is like quite a violent seinen action manga. So what's Zetman all about? What it's about is about the main character. So this is the main character on the front. His name is Jin, and he kind of grows up really poor. He lives in the slums with his grandfather, and he has this mark on his hand called the Angel's Mark. And anyway, he can turn into this guy, and essentially he becomes a superhero. And then there's another main character who's also a boy, and he's kind of like Batman in that he's kind of super rich and he uses his wealth to make gadgets. He doesn't actually have any superpowers, whereas Jin has superpowers. And the kind of central theme of the manga is justice. So these two different superheroes, they kind of have a different perspective on justice, and they kind of meet throughout, and these kind of ideals and philosophies are kind of explored throughout the manga. So actually, before I bought this manga, I really didn't know much about it. I just kind of saw it, the cover, and I thought it looked really cool. Then I did a little bit of research online as to what it's about. Like, I know there's an anime, but I've never watched that before. I just kind of saw this and did some research and decided that it was really cool, like a really cool idea. And also I'd read some of the mangaka's other work and also enjoyed it. So I thought, why not give this a shot? So altogether, there's 20 volumes, and I managed to pick them all up for a fairly reasonable price. So anyway, just before I go through the volumes, I just wanted to show you guys a look at some of the artwork and what the... Okay, so starting off at the beginning, there's some really cool color pages. So these are the two main characters here. You have Jin on the right and the other guy whose name I can't remember at the moment on the left here. These are the two main characters. So here's the main character when he's younger, Jin. I really like the art style in this manga. I think it's really cool. Like, it's kind of, I think it's like obviously inspired by, you know, Western superheroes and kind of Western, like comic style, because you can see here, like compared to, like, it's just all cells, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like, it's not really creative in the way, like, you know, like in other shonen battle manga, people like come out of the cells and there's lots of like full page spreads and things like that. This one's a lot more kind of straightforward, and I actually really like it because to me it kind of gives the manga a more cinematic feel, you know, kind of as if you're reading a storyboard of a movie or something like that. So I'm going to avoid any spoilers just in case you're interested in reading. Okay, so going through all the volumes, this one here is volume 1. Volume 2. Volume 3. So this guy here is the other main character, the Batman kind of guy. I really like how all the covers are kind of different colors. Like, I know it's like such a basic thing, but I get really sucked in when kind of the covers, they follow a theme and they're just different colors. Also, another really cool thing is that you can kind of see, if I kind of put it in the light here, that the covers are embossed. So it's like, you can feel like his hair looks really cool. and this one is the final volume, volume 20. So I've started reading this manga. I've only read the first 3 volumes. So my Japanese, like, I can read Japanese obviously, but I'm like not 100% fluent. So I read volumes 1 and 2 without a dictionary, and I got through it like pretty okay. Like, I think I understood like approximately 75 to 80% of the story. And then when I got to volume 3, and then this guy starts rambling about justice and all this kind of things like that, that was when it started to get a bit too difficult. So I kind of put this manga on the back burner just for now until I get some more studying and level up my Japanese. And then I'll come back and start from volume 1 again. So anyway, really happy to have this series and hoping to start reading it again soon. And then after I'm reading it, hopefully I'll try my best to put out like a review of the whole series. Okay, so the next series I picked up is this series here. It's called Sasameki Koto. It actually has an English release, and it's called Whispered Words, and it's released by One Piece Books. So I just picked up the first volume because this series is actually like a Yuri series, like Shoujo Ai. So it's like about a story about 2 girls who fall in love, or in this case, one girl loves the other girl. The other girl is kind of like oblivious to the other girl's feelings. And actually, I've never read like a Yuri series before, and I just wanted to like give it a go just to see how it is. Like, people seem to say pretty good things about them online, and like, I haven't really found a genre that I haven't enjoyed. Like, genre doesn't really matter to me that much. Like, more that matters is just the story. Even artwork to me is not particularly important. Like, if I like the story, then whatever, like the artwork or the genre doesn't really matter. So this one is the first volume. Altogether there's 9 volumes. So the English release, the 9 volumes are separated into 3 omnibuses. So, and actually they're really good value. I can't remember the price off the top of my head, but they're fairly cheap. So yeah, I just picked up the first volume just to see how it was, and I read it, and it was actually pretty funny. Like, I quite enjoyed it. Like, it's lighthearted. Like, it's not like heavy or anything like that. It's like a quite lighthearted read. And the jokes, like, there's like lots of gags and jokes. They're pretty funny. So I think I'll go back to the store and pick up the other volumes at a later date. So let's go and have a look at some of the artwork. Okay, so starting off, we got some nice color pages. Okay, so this girl here, her name is Ushio, and this girl's name is Sumika. So they're best friends, and this girl really likes just like really cute girls. Like, and this girl, she likes her friend, and she has no idea that she likes her, because she's like not her type. She's kind of like sporty and smart, whereas she likes just kind of like, I don't know, just like kawaii girls, stuff like that. So having a look at some of the artwork, it kind of like ranges from really bland backgrounds, like for example, like this, like things where there's like no background, and then it'll transition to like other really like nice scenes where the background can be like quite detailed. So here you can see there's like some kind of like, it's not like serious, like there's like comedy aspects, like stuff like this, like it's not like super serious or anything like that. But to be honest, like I was saying before, like art style to me isn't particularly important. Like, I don't really think there's like, I mean, like, art is objective, right? I mean, supposedly, like, there's no really like good art or bad art. But like, this is like fine for me. Like, I think it looks, you know, like nice. It's not like amazing to me, but I just think it looks nice. Like, it suits the story. Okay, so that was volume 1 of Whispered Words, or Sasameki Koto. Okay, so the next series I picked up is this series here. It's called Ikigami. I've never read any series by this mangaka before. I've never even heard of him. But actually, I have heard of this series before because it does actually have an English release. So here's just like a size comparison. It's kind of hard to see. The English one's really big. So it was released by Viz under their signature label. So actually I bought some of the English volumes a long time ago, like maybe 2 years ago, and I could never get my hands on volumes 1 and 2, so I never really read them. I just picked up randomly, because they were on sale, I picked up volumes 3, 4, and 8. And yeah, I never got around to reading them, but I did really want to read it at some point. So when I found that the Japanese volumes were on sale, I had to pick them up. So I picked up the first couple of volumes. So what is this series about? It's kind of like a dystopian future where when kids are in elementary school, they all get like a needle, and randomly some of them will have like this special like nanotechnology, and then one day when you're between 18 to 24 years old, you might receive a letter, and then if you receive this letter, it means that you have 1 day to live, and then that little nanotechnology that they put inside you is like operated by radio, and then you'll just die. So this is the main character on the front, and his job is to deliver those letters to people saying you have only 1 day to live. So obviously there's like some exploration about some philosophical themes about life and death and things like that. And actually, so the main character, after he delivers his letter that says, oh, you have 1 day to live, he kind of follows these people around to see how they live the final 24 hours of their lives. So I thought that was a really cool idea. I really like the cover as well, like the really simple white. You can't see it through the camera, but it's kind of like this really nice like cardboard material. So anyway, let's have a look at some of the artwork. Okay, so you can kind of see here on the first page, this is the scene when the kids are getting their vaccinations. I'm a pretty big fan of the artwork of this series. I just think it looks really cool. Like, it's not like over realistic, but it's like pretty detailed. Like this scene here. Okay, so this is volume 1. Volume 2. And the last volume that I picked up was volume 3. So altogether there's actually, I think there's 8 volumes altogether. So after I haven't actually started reading this yet, so after I get stuck into this, I'll probably go back to the store and pick up the last 5 volumes. Actually, one kind of bad thing about how this cover is like not glossy is that you can see here, like on the front, you can see it's like kind of stained, but like for the price I got them for, it doesn't really bother me. Okay, so the last pickup for this video is this series here, Planetes. So this series here also has a release in English, and I have the first omnibus here. It's released by Dark Horse. So here's a size comparison for you, just in case you're interested. But obviously the Dark Horse is a 2-in-1, so it's going to be thicker, but it's like taller and stuff like that. Okay, so the reason that I picked up the Japanese, even though I have the English volume, is that I actually don't have the second omnibus. It was a little bit too pricey, and these were really cheap, so I thought I may as well just pick it up in Japanese, and then I can just use the English volumes I have as like for study. So if there's anything I don't understand, I can just check it out in the English volume. I think there's like a lot of space. Well, no, I've already read the English volume, so I know there's a lot of like space jargon and technical terms. So when I see those in this Japanese volume, it's like really useful to have the English volume just to check it out and double check that my understanding is okay. So what's this series about? This is the main character on the front here. His name is Hachi. And pretty much his job is to collect debris out in space. So he just goes and collects all the junk, so like when other ships are coming through, they don't bash into it and things like that. But really, whilst it is sci-fi, it's really a slice of life, and it's about all these people and their kind of relationships with space, because they all have their own stories, what happened to them in the past, and they all have kind of, especially when they're younger, a lot of them have dreams to become astronauts and things like that. So this is the first volume, and let's go and have a look at some of the art. So here we've got some nice color pages at the front. I'm a pretty big fan of the artwork. Actually, it's the same mangaka that did Vinland Saga, but I think his artwork improves quite a bit from this series to Vinland Saga, because this came out before. But I really like his style. Here's some more color pages. Okay, so this is a pretty short series, only 4 volumes, and I managed to pick all of them up. So here we go, volume 1. Volume 2. I really like the covers of this series. They're really awesome. Volume 3. And the final volume, volume 4. So one thing that I've been thinking about doing recently is when I'm finished reading a series, to try my best to put up a review video where I'll just talk about, you know, like what I thought about it, the art, the story, the character development, and also for anyone interested, because like I only started studying Japanese around 3 years ago, so obviously my Japanese isn't perfect. So for anyone who's thinking about trying to study Japanese, or who is studying and you want to read manga in Japanese, I might try and talk a bit about the difficulty of the manga. So if that's something you're interested in, just let me know. Okay, so thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, like it. If you have any comments, I love getting comments and talking with people, so just leave some comments down below. And if you have any ideas for me to improve the channel or anything like that, I'd really appreciate it. So thanks a lot for watching, and see you in the next vid.